There's a 400-year-old Japanese technique that allows anyone to overcome laziness, without willpower, without motivation, and almost nobody has heard of it. You know that feeling. You're sitting there staring at your to-do list. You know exactly what needs to be done. And yet you can't move, you can't start. Something inside just won't let you. Here's the good news, that's not laziness. Recent neuroscience research reveals that what we've always labeled as laziness is actually your brain running a protection program. But here's what's fascinating. Centuries before any of this science existed, the samurai of Japan had already cracked the code. They had a name for it: kaijutsu, an ancient philosophy built on the mental interplay between truth and illusion, one that turned even the most grueling battles into something fluid, natural, almost effortless. Today, you're going to learn how to bring that same principle into your everyday life, so you never have to chase motivation again. But first, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit the bell so you never miss a thing. Now let's get into it. The real truth about laziness. Be honest with yourself for a second. You are never lazy about the things you enjoy. Never. You'll spend 3 hours scrolling TikTok without blinking. You'll binge 7 episodes back to back. You'll sit in a gaming chair for 5 hours and not once feel the weight of it. No resistance, no heaviness, zero effort. But the moment it's time to study, to train, to work, to finally start that project that could genuinely change your life, suddenly everything feels like moving through concrete. Your body locks up, your mind starts bargaining, and here is where everything shifts. The problem is not you. It was never you. It was never about lacking discipline or willpower. A Stanford University neuroscience team discovered that procrastination isn't a time management issue at all. It's an emotional management issue. The moment your brain links a task to discomfort, anxiety, or fear, it fires up what we've always used for that mechanism: laziness. But the samurai understood this 400 years ago, and that's exactly where kaijutsu comes in. The samurai code. Kaijutsu comes from 2 words: kaio, meaning false illusion, disguise, and jutsu, meaning truth, technique, reality. In practice, it worked like this: samurai never met a stronger enemy head-on if the odds were stacked against them. They knew that real victory came from turning the enemy's own strength against him, from using misdirection, illusion, and movement that made the opponent defeat himself. And here's the part that might surprise you. That exact principle, it doesn't just apply to battle. It applies to your life, right now. Because your greatest enemy isn't laziness, it's the way you've been dealing with it. Every time you try to overpower your resistance with sheer force, you lose. But the moment you learn to read it, understand it, and use it, that wall you've been banging your head against becomes a door. Harvard researchers have confirmed what the samurai intuitively knew: the human brain is not wired to seek effort. It is wired to conserve energy at all costs. The moment it senses that a task demands more than necessary, it throws up resistance. And we've been calling that resistance laziness our whole lives. The 3 roots of resistance. Kaijutsu teaches that all blockage, every single form of procrastination, traces back to one of 3 origins. Understand these and you can unlock any task. The first is resistance to method. This is what happens when the way you're trying to do something simply doesn't match the way your mind actually works. Maybe you're trying to write directly on a screen when you think better with a pen in your hand. Or you're studying with music playing when your brain genuinely needs silence. The task isn't wrong, the approach is. The second is resistance to time. You might be forcing yourself to work at the exact hour your energy hits its lowest point. Your peak is in the morning, but you keep trying to push through at night. Or the reverse. Your body has a rhythm, and you're fighting it instead of working with it. The third, and this one cuts the deepest, is resistance to purpose. That task you just cannot seem to start, no matter how many times you try. There's a real chance it shouldn't be on your list at all. Either it stopped making sense, or it never did. Here's a truth that's hard to hear but incredibly freeing: you're not lazy. You're out of alignment. A University of Melbourne study found that 79% of people who abandon personal projects don't quit because of weak discipline. They quit because somewhere beneath the surface, they sensed that the project was never truly connected to what matters to them. You're not broken. You were never broken. You were just listening to a signal you hadn't learned to decode yet. The samurai's secret: strategic positioning. Before any battle. Do you know what a samurai's very first move was? Preparing the field. Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman Japan ever produced, said something that applies to every corner of life. Victory belongs to those who prepare the ground. And here's the truth that productivity culture never tells you. You don't fail because you're weak. You fail because your battlefield is set up against you. Think about it. If your phone is vibrating on the desk, a YouTube tab is sitting open, notifications are firing every few minutes, your brain is already spending more energy resisting distractions than it has left to do the actual work. But clean the space. Put only what you need in front of you. Block the noise. Adjust your posture. When suddenly the heaviness lifts, what felt like climbing a wall starts to feel like walking a path. That's not magic. That's neuroscience. That's kaijutsu in action. You stop forcing yourself because the environment starts doing the work for you. Studies in neuroarchitecture show that a disorganized environment raises cortisol, your stress hormone, by up to 32% and dramatically reduces both focus and decision-making. The space around you is either working for you or against you. There is no neutral ground. The 5-step method. Grab a pen, write this down, or save this video, because what comes next is the kind of thing worth coming back to. Here are the 5 steps the samurai applied in battle that you can apply to your life starting today. Step 1. Conscious observation. The next time resistance shows up, that pull to procrastinate, that urge to flee, don't fight it. Stop, breathe and observe. What does your body actually feel in that moment? Tightness in your chest, tension in your shoulders, the automatic reach for your phone. Just noticing what's happening dissolves almost half the resistance on its own. Step 2. Translate the resistance. Ask yourself, is this resistance to method, to time, or to purpose? Because the answer changes everything. If it's method, change your approach. If it's time, shift your schedule. If it's purpose, have the courage to ask whether that task belongs in your life at all. Step 3. Design your environment with intention. This is a deliberate war against distraction. Phone on airplane mode, website blockers on, headphones in, table cleared of everything except what serves the work. Make the environment so supportive of focus that working becomes easier than procrastinating. Step 4. The minimum viable action. If you tell yourself, I need to study for 3 hours, your brain panics. But if you say, I'm just going to open the notebook and write 1 sentence, the resistance dissolves. That's the move. Make the first step so small it's impossible to say no to. Because here's what nobody tells you: starting is 80% of the work. Step 5. Cultivate flow. Once you're moving, protect the momentum. Work in focus cycles of 25 to 35 minutes with short breaks woven in. Don't leave open gaps where procrastination can sneak back through. And track your progress. Because seeing that you're actually moving forward triggers a cycle of natural motivation that keeps building on itself. Research published in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that people who use short work cycles, like the Pomodoro technique, are 42% more likely to complete complex tasks than those who grind through long, unbroken blocks without rest. The real power of Kyojutsu. Here's the detail almost everyone misses. Kyojutsu was never about working harder. It was always about working with lightness. When you truly master this, something quietly profound happens. You realize that real productivity was never about brute effort. It was always about alignment. Most people spend their entire lives playing a game where the rules were quietly stacked against them. But what if you changed the game entirely? What you've learned today isn't just another productivity hack. It's a new way of seeing yourself. You were never lazy. What you've been calling laziness was always a signal of misalignment. And when you finally learn to listen to it, something almost magical begins to happen. Movement becomes natural again. Effort stops feeling like a punishment. What used to feel like a daily battle starts to feel like clarity, like direction, like breathing. Change never begins with a dramatic leap. It begins with a micro step, a pause, a question asked honestly, a small shift in your environment. And when you string those small gestures together, day after day, something new takes shape. A rhythm where you no longer act out of obligation but out of clarity, where you stop forcing yourself because your own path starts pulling you forward. So let me ask you this: what is the first micro step you're going to take?